When a homesteading family arrived at their new claim in the American West, sometimes with nothing more than a wagon of tools, seed, and provisions, the first work was not the house. It was the ground. Before the cabin walls went up, before the barn was framed, before the well was even dug, your great-great-grandmother was breaking sod for the garden that would feed the family through the first year. And she did not plant randomly. She planted 5 specific vegetables first, in a specific order, because those 5 would keep the family alive if everything else failed. The choice was not arbitrary. It was the accumulated wisdom of generations of homesteaders who had tried every crop and learned which ones actually worked when the family was starting from nothing on raw ground. Here is what modern gardeners often miss. The homestead garden was not for pleasure. It was for survival, and the crops chosen for it had to meet specific criteria. They had to grow in poor soil that had never been broken before. They had to produce a lot of calories per square foot. They had to store well through the winter. They had to be plantable from seed the family could carry or save. And they had to be tough enough to survive the neglect of a family that was busy building a house and clearing land. Before we start, hit subscribe, because this is the fundamental knowledge of frontier food security. What you are about to learn is the 5 vegetables that homesteaders planted before anything else went in the ground. Let us count them down. The first vegetable was potatoes. There is a reason the potato became the staple of poor and hard-working families across America and Europe. It produces more calories per acre than almost any other crop. It grows in soil that is too poor for wheat. It requires little tending. It stores well in a root cellar through the entire winter, and it can be planted from the leftover potatoes of the previous harvest, meaning the family never needs to buy seed. Your homestead great-great-grandmother planted potatoes first because a bushel of potatoes represented calories on the shelf, and a well-tended patch could yield hundreds of pounds. The potatoes could be boiled, baked, fried, mashed, or made into a dozen other dishes, and they filled the belly through the leanest months of the year. The second vegetable was beans, particularly dry beans meant for storage. Beans grow well in almost any soil. They fix nitrogen back into the ground that they take from the air, meaning they actually improve the soil for the next crop, and they can be dried and stored for years without any preservation beyond keeping them dry. A pound of dry beans is dense with protein and calories, and it costs almost nothing to grow. Your homestead great-great-grandmother planted beans in long rows, sometimes climbing beans up corn stalks in the old Three Sisters method, and the harvest went into sacks in the cellar. Combined with the potatoes, the beans provided the protein and calories that made a homesteading diet actually sustainable, and the family ate beans in some form nearly every day of the winter. The third vegetable was corn. Corn is not technically a vegetable in the botanical sense, but in the homestead garden, it was the third essential crop. Corn produces enormous amounts of calories per acre. It stores well in the form of dried kernels for the winter. It can be ground into meal for bread and mush. It feeds both people and livestock, and its stalks provide fodder for animals after the harvest. Your homestead great-great-grandfather often planted corn as a field crop rather than a garden crop, but the household garden usually included some sweet corn for fresh eating in the summer and dent corn for winter storage. Cornbread, hominy, grits, and cornmeal mush were staples of the frontier diet across the country, and they all began with the corn planted in the first year of the homestead. The fourth vegetable was winter squash. Squash was one of the great gifts of the American gardens, native to this continent and refined by native peoples across thousands of years. The tough-skinned winter squashes, pumpkins, hubbards, butternuts, and their many kin grow on sprawling vines that produce enormous yields with very little tending. The mature squash can be stored whole in a cool cellar for months without any preservation at all, and they provide calories, vitamin A, and a wide variety of ways to be eaten. Your homestead great-great-grandmother planted squash hills at the corners of the garden or along fence lines, let the vines run where they wanted, and harvested the winter squash in the fall. A small patch produced enough squash to eat several times a week through the entire winter. The fifth vegetable was cabbage. Cabbage is a hardy cool-weather crop that produces large, dense heads of leafy food, and its most important trick is that it can be preserved into sauerkraut, which keeps for months without refrigeration and provides crucial vitamin C through the winter. Your homestead great-great-grandmother planted a row of cabbage, and by fall she had heads that went into the root cellar hole, into crocks as sauerkraut, and into fresh coleslaw and cabbage soup for the immediate table. Cabbage stretched a long way, kept well, and prevented the vitamin C deficiency that could otherwise have caused scurvy in a family eating stored food all winter. These five, potatoes, beans, corn, squash, and cabbage, were the foundation of every serious American homestead garden, and they were planted first for the very good reason that they were the ones the family absolutely could not do without. Everything else in the garden, the tomatoes, the peppers, the lettuces, the carrots, the onions, was important, but those five were the ones that meant the difference between eating and not eating. The reasons behind the choice deserve one more look. First, all five produce staple calories, the actual energy the family needs to survive. A garden of nothing but salad greens will not feed a working family through the winter. The homesteaders knew this and planted for calories first. Second, all five store well through the winter with minimal preservation. Potatoes and squash keep in a root cellar. Beans and corn dry into forms that keep for years. Cabbage keeps whole or turns into sauerkraut. The family that planted these five had food security across the entire year, not just the growing season. Third, all five can be planted from saved seed. The homesteader who had once bought potatoes could plant the next year's crop from the leftovers of the previous year's harvest. Bean seed dries in the pod and is planted directly. Corn kernels are saved from the best ears. Squash seed is saved from the best fruits. Cabbage seed is saved from plants left to bolt. This meant the family was never dependent on a seed catalog, and once they had the initial planting, they could grow the same crops year after year forever without spending money. Fourth, all five tolerate the poor soil of a newly broken homestead. None of them require the rich, well-composted ground that the pampered vegetables demand. They grow in the tough, weedy, rocky soil that a family could break in the first year, and they produce enough to matter even in less than ideal conditions. Fifth, and perhaps most important, all five can be cooked and prepared in dozens of different ways, meaning the family did not get tired of them over the long winters. A creative cook, and your homestead great-great-grandmother was a creative cook by necessity, could turn potatoes, beans, corn, squash, and cabbage into an almost infinite variety of dishes that carried the family through without complaint. The knowledge of what to plant first was passed down among homesteaders as urgently as the knowledge of how to build a house or dig a well. It was survival knowledge, plain and simple, and it worked. The families who planted these five in the first year usually ate. The families who planted something else, or nothing at all, often did not. Here is your challenge. Plant even one of these five in your own garden this year. Learn to save the seed. Learn to store the harvest through the winter. Cook with what you grow. Tell me in the comments which of the five you'll start with, and tell me if your family kept a garden going through your grandparents' time. That knowledge did not die. It just went quiet. It is time to start listening again.